This is your Module 6 overview. So in this module, you're starting to put everything together as you'll need to write a first draft of your final paper. So we will have a peer review in this module after you write your first draft, and it needs to be in somewhat of a complete form because you need something for your peer to review. And then you'll also have a quiz. So let's just review everything here. So your learning materials this week, this first one, this common transition terms used, this just really helps you give some variety to your writing. I know this isn't a writing class, but it is a literacy class, meaning that we write. So just look at this and just kind of keep it opened as you write your final paper. It'll just help you give some variety to your writing. Take a look here at the final paper grading rubric. This was also available in the beginning of the semester when you kind of decided on what your final paper would be, but take a look at that. And then there's always been in our Canvas shell the finer paper module, and that has a lot of great tools, including the intro and conclusion checklist, which you should have seen last module, as well as how to create a summary, which was also in the last module, but just as a reminder. So as I said in this module, the big focus is doing your peer review. So if you need a partner, you can just put your email address in here to have someone contact you. But you could also use someone from your apple cider vinegar group if you happen to have their email address and it was a positive experience for you. So for the peer review, you can access the assignment here. And then I've also included an example of a final paper that I put some comments on, so you can review that. But let's take a look at the assignment itself. Okay, so step 1 is to finish your rough draft of your final paper. Step 2 is to share your paper as a Google Doc. I find that most students are a little more familiar with using Google Docs for editing rather than you can do it in Microsoft Word. If you look at the top of Word here, you can go to review, and you can add comments that way. So that's totally fine as well. But Google Docs is a bit friendlier for making comments. So then you're going to make 10 comments throughout the paper. Again, look at the intro, consider all the things that are on the checklist, look at the thesis, should be the last sentence of the intro, should be the roadmap for the paper, your subheadings should match up with your thesis. Look at the rest of the paper, paragraph by paragraph, look at the conclusion, make sure the citations match up, make sure the references are correct. So as the peer reviewer, I'll also be making sure that you're making correct comments and not saying things that go against what we've covered in class so far. Then on the last page of the paper, you will provide some feedback. So what they did well, what they could improve on, and that's going to be at least 200 words. So when you submit this, you're actually submitting the Google link to the paper that you edited, because ultimately you're getting points for your editing. I don't want to see your own paper because that's what the other person edited. So in Google Docs, it's key that you change the status to can edit. So I'll show you how to do that, but it also shows you on this next page where you click on share and then you change the setting. But let's take a look at that as well if you are not familiar. So here we are in a Google Doc. And when you are adding comments, you can just highlight something and then click the little plus button over here. And that's where you would add your little comment. So this looks great. Consider changing to blah, blah, blah. So then you would click comment. And then there you go. There's your comment on their paper. So up in the top corner here, you have this share button. Right now, it's anyone with the link can access it, but in order for me to see the edits that you've made, you need to change this to anyone with the link can edit. So change this to editor. And then just click done. And then this is the link that you would use. That's what your peer needs in order to share the document and share all the comments that you made. So when this is only in view access, the instructor's not able to see any of the edits that the peer made on it. I'm just going to change this one back for the sake of this document. And also be sure that you are not resolving any of the comments that your peer made until the instructor has graded the assignment, which should typically be in a few days after you've sent it in. So don't resolve anything yet. Just keep all the comments on there. And you can also reply to those comments if you're unsure about what they were talking about. But I think Google Docs lends itself well to the peer review or the reviewing process. And then you can see that there's a grading rubric for the peer review as well. There's also a quiz this week. The quiz kind of covers what we've been covering the entire semester. So it's a really little bit more kind of all-inclusive. It doesn't say like in this reading, it said this, true or false. So just really kind of think about everything that we've done this semester, particularly from the past few modules. And it talks about writing the final paper as well. So just be aware of that.